Oh, Nadia, we are live. Hi,
Hello.
how are you
Hi.
doing, Nadia?
I am doing very well. Thank you very much. And thank you, Aida, for having me here today, sharing about some hopefully useful experiences that I hope will benefit our fellow students back home in Kyrgyzstan. And I hope to answer the questions as well that um, will be asked today. So, yeah, looking forward to having a talk with you guys.
Yes, thank you very much, Nadia, for accepting the invitation. So let me welcome our viewers. So good evening, dear friends. Welcome to our USG Alumni Talks, and I'm very excited to introduce our guest speaker today, Nadia Pak. She is Flex alumna, and today she will be talking about interesting topic such as how to ace job and exchange program interviews. So thank you very much everyone for joining us today. And as Nadia already mentioned, please type your questions, type your comments under this video, and after the presentation, Nadia will answer them. So I think we can start, Nadia. What do
Yep,
you think?
sure, yeah,
Great.
sure, totally. I have prepared a small presentation with a few slides,
Mhm.
but mostly it would be sharing some experiences and basically more. I want to make it more interactive than just going slide by slide, and mostly I'm looking forward to your questions if there are any. And then I'll be sharing my contact details if anybody has particular questions. Um, or is currently preparing for a program, I would be more than happy to um, help you out, guys. But yeah, mostly it's my experiences, and I hope they are somewhat useful. I will now be sharing the screen. Um,
Okay.
okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Nadia.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you very much for this amazing poster. I have stolen it from you for my presentation as the introductory slide. The topic of today's presentation is how to ace a job or exchange program interviews. Um, and Let me first introduce myself and give you a bit of a background. My name is Nadia Pak, and I'm a Flex alumna 2009, 2010. So it's been 10 years this year since I've completed the program that has completely changed my life and established a lot of things in me that I have achieved today. I'm also alumna of ProKG Leadership Program, and I keep mentioning ProKG Leadership Program because I believe it's a fantastic opportunity for the young people in Kyrgyzstan, and I'm honored to have been a part of this program that allows young, prosperous leaders of our country to develop their skills even further. Um, and I highly recommend everyone to apply to this program if you have a chance. I'm also alumna of American University of Central Asia. Completed a course of business administration. Sorry, it's 2010 and 2014. It didn't take me 14 years to complete the course. Sorry about that. I'm also achieving alumna 2016, 2017. Completed my master's degree at the University of Surrey, studying the course of air transport management. And aviation is my passion, and I'm working full time in the field of aviation at the moment. Right now, I'm holding the position of with a company called Global Travel Investment, overseeing Eastern Europe and CIS, and leading the project in that region. So, yes, this is a brief introduction of, of myself. And Today, of course, we are talking about the interviews as one of the important parts of the selection process, whether you're applying for a job or you're trying to pass an exchange program, become a finalist of the program. It's a very important stage, and probably one of the most crucial ones. And when you made it to the interview stage, hey, well done. It's already shows that you are a good candidate, and that there is trust in you, and that the selection committee is looking forward to speaking to you, and actually evaluate further opportunities to working with you, or to having you as part of a certain program. And I think one of the most major things that actually puts us down, or actually restricts us, is in many ways to show the most out of ourselves during the interview stage, or at the interview, is the stress that brings in confidence, that makes us doubt ourselves, um, that um, that really, really gets into your head. And when you go into the room, you see this selection committee, and you just get so nervous that you don't know what to say, how to say it. The whole story in your head um, is twisted, and in many cases it results in a failure, or the selection committee think that, oh, the person is maybe not ready for the next stage for this job, or maybe the person doesn't show all of his or her abilities to perform well. And yes, a lot of us do stress, and do fail. And sometimes when you stress, the questions that are asked, you either don't hear them or misunderstand them, so your answers become um, they're going sideways. So, what I would recommend is first to work on managing your stress. Do not stress too much, but rather take a deep breath and work on the certain aspects of the interview that you should be expecting to face at the interview. Um, I would also recommend to do a bit of your homework. And by homework, I mean to research more about the program that you're applying for, or the company that you're applying for. If it's a job, do your homework, research uh, more about the job, about um, the prospects, about the responsibilities that people have when performing the certain job. Job description is just not enough, in my opinion. You need to dig deeper, maybe speak to people who've done the same jobs. In that same industry, particular industry, and prepare for the answers that you might not be expecting, to answer the questions that you might not be expecting about this job. Um, but it's not only limited to this job. It can also it should also take the company, do your homework about the company, or about the program that you're applying for. Um, and I know that you guys maybe think, oh, it's too basic, but a lot of us actually do not make this little step, and do not do the homework, just thinking, oh, it's okay. I'll just focus on other things, on my answers, on my story. But it's very important, because it shows the selection committee that this person took his or her time uh, to to go a bit further. It would be great if you learn some history about the company, or about the project. Uh, Learn more about the alumni of um, of a certain program, or about successes of the company, and just be ready to speak about it. For example, saying, "But guys, I know that the president of this country has been part of your exchange program, and I was just fascinated by that, by how many opportunities the program gave to this person, and how much impact this person is making now in the country." And there's so many cases like that, and this is a very um, powerful thing when you actually get inspired by leaders, by other people who have been part of the same program. It makes you even more excited about being one of the students or part of this exchange program, part of these experiences. Um, and then you will know that, oh, after this program, I will be able to do so many more things. So that's an important, I would say, one of the most important things to do a bit of a research. Um, if it's about the job, knowing what the company was doing in the past before you got invited to the interview. Watch some maybe interviews by the company management, learn some case studies, and things like that. They will all be very helpful and useful for you to build the grounds of communication during the interview process. Because the people who are inviting you to the interview, they expect you to, be a bit of a thinker, be a bit of a person who would be able to expand on certain topics and not just focus on your um, job title and thing that you would get for yourself. So yes, homework is important. Then, of course, your story. What is it that you want to share about you? And I think it applies both to the job interview and to the exchange program interview. What made you actually apply to this for this job and to apply to this program? What was behind it? Your personal experiences. Maybe you know somebody who was working for this company, or you know somebody who was part of this exchange program, and you were inspired by this person. Um, um, Maybe you talk to these people, and this made you think uh, about the prospect, about the impact that this particular job has, um, or this exchange program would give. So, and of course, your personal story. Maybe you have certain goals in life, and you believe that um, this program or this job would would help you to achieve those certain goals. Um, and the story should be interesting, and I'm sure that everybody went through certain things in life, that everybody has got something to share, um, and to make it comprehensive, interesting to the selection committee or to your interviewer. It's important to to be able to communicate it professionally, to connect the dots, basically to know why you're sharing this particular thing with your interviewer. And then, of course, you want to stand out, you want to be selected, and you want to pass, uh, to go to a certain country as part of this exchange program, or to get the job. Think about your unique selling points. What is that in you that you are able to prove? The thing that stand out. It could be your professional, it could be your personal, it could be your overall extracurricular thing that you've done or you're doing, and these things must be connected to. to the topic of the interview. And I would say if this unique selling points you're very confident in that they're true, and you believe that you have those, then do not hesitate to share to prove yourself. Um, and during the selection process, because it's quite important, it would make a lot of sense to mention. Um, I'm not very good at this kind of things, but I think that speech is very important. The way you present yourself, the way you speak, not too slow, not too fast, because sometimes people cannot really um, comprehend other people speaking. The noise, if you're going too loud or too low. I suggest to get in front of the mirror and start talking and see the person in front of you, and how well can you hear this person. Does this person make sense to you? Work on your body language. I think it's quite important just to create the feel with the audience, with the people who are on the opposite side. Giving you a bit of a stress time, but I think just getting your things together and speaking confidently is very important, and builds trust, builds understanding that you are a solid candidate, and especially, of course, the ability to answer questions very confidently. So speech is an important aspect of your interview stage, I believe. Of course, making sense, and it's not the last or the point is on the slides. Basically, it's the last on the slide, but not least. Um, Making sense is very important. Of course, if you're being asked about um, certain certain area, it's better if you just focus and answer the question that is answer the question correctly. Because I know when you're stressing out, and I do it all the time. When I'm stressing out, I tend to lose control over my thoughts, and when I'm asked a question, I tend to going sideways and just start talking about absolutely random thing. But repeat the question in your head, and you would feel in the audience if they would understand that the person is just going to the opposite direction. Just repeat the question in your head and be focused. If you're asked about a particular thing, focus on actually evolving around the question. Many people tend to jump onto the other topic. They're like, "Oh yes, yes, I'm asked about corn, but I will talk about pomegranate, for example." So yes, be sure that you're making sense, that you're connecting the dots, and even if you are jumping to a certain different area, just make sure that the transition is making sense. Um, and I believe, these 5 points would prepare you more or less to become a person to talk to. I think the interview is actually um, um, I think the main reason for the interview is to have a feel of the person, because on the paper, on your CV, you can list all of the qualifications that you have. They can be amazing, graduate of the top school, you know, um, done so many things as extracurricular activity. Traveled the whole world, worked for top companies. This looks all very great, but is this person really able to handle certain situations? Is this person able to communicate, or to be to be part of the team. It's very important to have this personal meetings with people. That's why I believe the interviews are quite important to part of the selection process. How is the person handling stress, engaging with others, and these things are crucial. So, um, yes, the main point of the slide is to not stress too much, but just focus on delivery. But I think that a bit of a stress is still good. It keeps you going. It helps you think fast. At least for me, it works. When I'm worried about something, I'm mostly worried that I don't know the answer to a certain question. But it makes me go and research, go and read more about what I am about to undertake. It makes me brainstorm about different consequences, about different options and possibilities. So I think that a bit of a healthy stress is still good. I hope it's making sense for you guys. I was just thinking that there's so many other strategies that are recommended on the internet that you can access, but I'm just sharing my personal experiences here with the interviews, and I do believe that these five points are actually the most important. At least they worked for me. So, and ultimately, the main question when you are applying for an exchange program or you're applying, you are at the job interview. The main question is why this candidate. I mean, this is from the side of the selection panel, and all the questions that are asked will be evolving around this one question. And it would be good if you start thinking your answers, basically uh, rounding around the question why this candidate, why me, uh, and all of the main question to yourself will be around why am I the right candidate? Why am I actually applying this program? If you are studying finance, but you all of a sudden applied to become a social worker, why are you the right candidate for a certain job or for a certain program? Um, I think this must make sense to you first, and this would build confidence in you when you go to the job interview. You know exactly, and you're being authentic about with every question, with every answer. You know what you're talking about it, and you're not just creating things as you go. Uh, and you're not taking somebody's place, for example, who as a deserving candidate. I think for me, it was one of the most important things when I was applying to certain programs or to certain jobs. I wanted to be part of this program because I knew that I'm the right candidate and I knew why, and I was able to show it. And the same for the job. I knew why I'm at this. I applied for this job opening. I know how I can bring value to the company, and ultimately, uh, it's a win. It must be a win-win situation in terms of the outcome. When you're applying for the job, the management is basically looking for certain person who is able to bring value to the company. And exchange program, they might have a bit different vision maybe than companies who are hiring for a job, but ultimately all of the experiences that you obtain during the exchange program, it's they're looking into a bigger picture. How are you able to then make changes, bring this important experiences back home, and be the person of change, or will you be able to share your experiences with your peers when you go back? Um, and how else will it impact your future and the future of the society that you live in? So I believe starting with these two questions would also help you answer many questions that can be expected at the interviews. And what to expect at the interview, right? That could be many things. There are different types of interviews. There could be stress interviews where people are testing your how well you are managing stress. It could be very laid back, and people just want to communicate and learn more about your personality. It could be a very professional test. They just testing your professional skills, certain skills that are needed to perform a certain job. And yes, depending on the interview, we can't really predict what kind of people are in the panel there. But uh, if you know the answer why you are the right candidate and why you are there, then I think it's a good way to start to ace your job interview or exchange program interview. Um, we talked a little bit about your personal stories, and when I mentioned if you've got a story to share, um, uh, I did mention that it should be a comprehensive, interesting story that actually made you come to this stage that you wanted to apply for a certain program, to a certain exchange program or a job. So I always believe in storytelling, in the power of storytelling, and if you're able to connect the dots in your life and present it to the selection committee, I think it's one of the ways to ace your interview, just to prove through your story that you are the right candidate, and that this job or this program would help you achieve even more in your life. And normally, stories are reflecting the experiences that people have, interesting moments and very challenging moments, maybe some sad moments as well. And if you're not hesitating to share those, um, they can be part of your interview process, I believe. And it's very individual, and a lot of us have different things to share. So yes, think about your story if you've got one. I'm sure you do, and think how this can help you uh, build communication at the interview level. I think it has to be also both ways. When people are asking you a question and you answer it, that's not it. It has to be a communication, and asking questions back is just building a conversation. This is what makes an interview actually more solid and more interesting, and showing more engagement. So a story can be part of it. Um, you know, Here's just a list of a few things that you might also want to keep in mind. Um, before going to an interview, think about all sorts of different questions that are related to the topic, and prepare for common and uncommon interview questions. How would you deal with those if you are asked all of a sudden, well, why the sky is blue? Or why do you think we need certain things in life, that are things that are absolutely unrelated to you? Or do you think that, I don't know, these kind of um, reforms or policies make our life better? And, people can just ask you anything. And the most important thing is not to stress out or worry, and just to be able to reflect on it and answer the question, or saying, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I believe this and this and that. Uh, um, if you really don't know something, you just it's better to say I don't know the answer, but I think that this could be the answer, or I know where to find the answer. But don't try to show that you know everything, because this might really not be something that the interviewer would expect you to do. So yes, think about all different outcomes, or all different questions that could be there. Um, and Yes, we talked about your unique selling points. Clarify those, maybe write them down. Um, Sometimes people think that, oh, it's not so good to always praise myself. I've done this, I've done that, I studied there. But remind yourself of the great thing that you've done in life, and um, I think this is very helpful to build your confidence. If you've done something good, then write it down and remind yourself about it, and talk about it during the interview if it's relevant to what you're trying to make, to the point that you're trying to make. So yes, clarify your selling points and the reasons why you want to join, you want the job, or you deserve to be the finalist. Um, Anticipate the interviewer's concerns and reservations. Be prepared that people might be very doubtful. Some people just woke up and the day went wrong. Um, Bad mood, bad hair day, anything. Some family issues. It could be anything that can affect the atmosphere. So try to anticipate those in advance and create the environment. A lot depends on you in that room, and don't think that only your interviewers would set the atmosphere in the room. It's also up to you how you are handling everything, and the environment that you create. So yes, be ready for to deal with the concerns and reservations of your interviewers. Uh, I think one of the most important things as well is to prepare the questions to the interviewer. Um, Normally, in the end of the interview, you can be asked if you have any questions to the interviewers, and a lot of people just say no, all good, thank you very much. And I personally believe that if a person is interested in a certain program, or in a certain job, he or she has a lot of questions to ask, a lot of interesting questions, not just a regular thing that you can find on the internet, or like, what's my salary, right? Not this kind of questions, but deeper questions, more interesting questions, specific questions, challenging questions. These are the things that would actually give the insight, might give the insight to your interviewers, and be like, oh, I like this person. This person thinks deeper, thinks broader. So why don't we look into this candidacy even further? So I think it's important to prepare those in advance and think through and understand why you want to ask them. And of course, once you've gone through all of that, practice and practice and practice. You can practice in front of the mirror. You can ask a good friend of yours to help you. You can ask your parents, or whoever you wish, whoever you trust, um, to basically go through things with you. So practice is very important, guys. And I think that's pretty much it. I think that um, there's so many different types of occasions, types of interviews, and they're all very personal. But I think coming down to the main questions, why am I the right candidate, and why this candidate, just answering those um, um, is something to start with. And I wish you best of luck with all of your future interviews, whether it's your first job after college, or it's an exchange program. I hope that this presentation was somewhat useful. I actually never talked about it in the past, never shared these experiences. So I'm now happy to answer any questions that you have. And here's my email address. You can drop me an email if you want to, if you'd like me to answer certain questions, or if you want me to have a mock interview with you. I'll be more than happy to help. So yes, guys, reach out, and yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Nadia, for an outstanding presentation. Thank you very much for sharing your personal experience and for amazing recommendations suggested for us. I think it was really helpful and interesting presentation. So
Thank
now
you.
we can move on to our Q&A session. So I want to kindly remind our viewers, please, any questions, any comments are very welcome. So you can ask them in the comment section. So the first question for you, Nadia, is a dress code important? What is the best way to dress for a job and program interview?
Right, that's a very good question. I'm a strong believer that you don't want to look flashy. You don't want to um, make a wrong impression. I would say, yeah, we live in a very free world now, where freedom of expression is very important, and I support that and I welcome that. But I think if it's in an interview for a job, it's important to dress professionally, and choose the clothing that you would feel comfortable in when you go to a big company or a company, and you meet certain people in that company that provide service to you. How would you feel if you go to a bank and there's someone in I don't know, in pink trousers and with on the negotiations. I think this is quite important aspect to choose right clothing. Maybe not too open, not too closed. Just very comfortable professional look.
Mhm, mhm. Thank you very much for your answer, Nadia. So, the next question for you. Do you have any special tips and tricks how to cope with stress and nervousness during an interview?
I personally don't really have it. Because I always get nervous, to be honest with you, when I have an interview, and it's absolutely keeps me going and keeps me thinking a lot. But it's impossible not to worry or stress. I think personally, I do respect those people who just like, oh, another interview, it's okay. I'm just gonna nail it. I think these people are just amazing. But I normally, what gives me confidence is knowing and working more into researching more about this program or about this company. Personally, before the interview, I just like to take a deep breath and think about positive things. I think positive thinking could really help for you to deal to deal with stress, and to think about, actually, in 2 hours this is all gonna be done, and I'm gonna get my bagel or my muffin and a coffee, and think about all that I just went through. So yes, there are no certain tips whatsoever that I can give you. I think they're very personal. But what I do, I just try to build more confidence and think about positive things.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Nadia, for your answer. So, the next question, is it okay to tell joke or anecdote during the interview?
I'm a firm believer. Then yes, engage as much as you can with your interviewers. In the end of the day, we're people, and we go home, we do things same way. Make dinner, go out with friends. we're people, and I think it's more important to to not behave as robots. It's important to show your personality. Try to be funny, and if you want to be, if you don't want to be, then it's purely up to you. I think making jokes is a good way you can handle certain situations. Of course.
Mhm. I see.
I've
Thank.
I've I've made some I made some jokes during the interviews, and I never asked the interviewers how it went and was it okay, but just to break the ice a little bit.
Mhm.
Sometimes it could be very challenging and tough. So make jokes about you, about the weather. It's okay.
Mhm. Great. Thank you very much, Nadia. So the next question, is it important to ask questions during the interviews? If yes, what kind of questions?
Um, Yes, I think it's important to ask questions, especially if you didn't understand the questions you've been asked. In many cases, when people talk to you, you kind of blur your mind and stop listening, right? And then you miss what the question was because you were thinking already about something else. If you didn't hear the question, you can basically say, "Sorry, can you repeat your question?" Or "I have a question about your question." So just to make it clear, uh, we're all different people and we perceive information differently. So I'm a solid believer that it's okay to ask questions and to clarify things as well.
Mhm. Super. Thank you
Did
very
you
much.
ask me about what type of questions? Um, I think relevant questions to the topic, interesting questions, professional questions. Yes,
Mhm. Mhm. Great. Thank you, Nadia.
no problem.
I'm looking for another question. As we know, you study and work in England now. Was it hard for you to understand British English?
Okay. Yeah, well, right now I'm actually, because of the current situation with coronavirus, I wasn't able to come home, but I live in Kyrgyzstan and I work in Kyrgyzstan. Just came to the UK for a short internship and conference. I was unable to make it home on time, so I'm just waiting for the first commercial flight. But yes, when I first uh, got to the UK, I was fascinated by the accent and everyone thought that I'm from the U.S. because of Flax program, and I just tried to explain why. And you're Asian, but why you have a very different accent, and it was a bit hard to understand, but it was easy to get used to it. One of the things that I've noticed that British English is much slower. It's taken its much slower pace, and I have actually adopted quite a few things from British English. I think I'm kind of mixed now, and when I hear myself sometimes, like, oh, I used to say differently, like say water. For me, it was I was very used to American way of saying it, but here it's water. And when I go to a shop to buy a bottle of water, I'm just asking for water, and just to just one
Uh,
of the examples.
it's
So
fun.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love it.
Yes. Thank you very much for sharing the story. Nadia, so the next question. What was the most unexpected question to you during the interviews?
Um, what was the most unexpected question? Hmm, that's a good one, actually. Um, I think I was asked once. Yes. So I had an interview here when I was a student in the UK, and I applied to this internship program. And the lady interviewing me asked, "Who would be the first person you would call when you are in stress?"
Wow.
And it was an interview to join like a big company and an aviation sphere, and I was absolutely shocked, uh, and my reaction maybe was not what she would expect me to say, but because I was so not expecting this kind of questions, like, I would go my mom, and yes, you know, that was very unexpected. But I think she kind of expected me to say just to mention someone close to you, and I don't know why she asked me this question. I'm still thinking what could be different reasons for that. But yes, that was the most unexpected question during the interview that I was asked. But I think it's again about people to people relationship. Maybe this person just wanted to see wanted to see how I'm handling certain unexpected things. So
Mhm.
yeah, thank you, I get him.
Yes. Thank you very much, Nadia.
Uh-huh.
For the next question, how did Flex program help you to achieve your professional goals?
Okay. I was 16 or 15. I think I was 15 when I went to the US, and at this age, everything seems so great, and you're like you have this life ahead of you. You're trying things, and you don't know what you're doing, and nothing. You think it makes sense, but it's actually, there's a long way to go. And I think actually Flex was the the trampoline that I jumped on, and was able to go up and actually see things outside of my garden, outside of the trampoline, and see the differences, see the similarities. And I think Flex really helped me understand understand things about life, about different cultures, different languages, just to, you know, um, get adjusted to living in this world better. So it was certainly, I think, one of the best, if not the best,
Mm-hmm.
experiences of my life, and I'm very very grateful to have participated in Flex program and other programs. Chevening is also an amazing program, but it's more for professional development of a person. So yes, Flex was quite crucial. I believe that any exchange program that takes you out of your home country is uh, is, is great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see. Thank you very much, Nadia, for sharing this story. So, the next question for you: what kind of projects and programs you implemented as Bishkek American Center volunteer?
Oh, that was an unexpected question, actually. Oh, thank you very much for that. Yes, when I just came back from Flex program, um, I was so eager to try other things and to do something. So I got in touch with the U.S. Embassy, and got in touch with the American Corners at the library, Biolinov Library. And I just came there. I was like, what can I do? What can I do to help? And I started I started tutoring and holding talking club sessions, I think once a week or twice a week. And as part of that talking club, kind of movement. We've applied for a few grants with the American Embassy, and organized a few projects, like cleaning up day, or Global Youth Service Day. We just cleaned around the library. Had different colored T-shirts, and tried to involve young people in volunteering projects of different sorts. We had a tree planting activity as well. And yes, American Corner was supporting us. The U.S. Embassy was supporting us, and it was a lot of fun. We would sometimes have cakes and pizza after, and just building relationship, building communities. That was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you very much. I think you would been very active volunteer at Bishkek American Center. Oh, I think it's like kind of like warm memories of it.
Indeed, we are, and I made a lot of friends. We still keep in touch with a lot of them. Actually, people who came to take to learn English, talking club, and I've met a lot of volunteers from the U.S. at the American Corner. We still keep in touch with many of those. It's amazing how you build friendships, build new memories with people you meet, just doing something else.
Yes, I agree with you. So it's still, I mean, Talking Club with Flex alumni is still very popular among our visitors.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
The next question for you, Nadia. How do you answer the question, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Um, yes, I think this is one of the questions that is fairly often faced or asked. The A lot of times people ask about your long-term plans, and I'm always saying that life can change just like that over a day. You can want something today, and tomorrow you may want something else because you've explored something else. You think that in 10 years you would be a successful businesswoman or successful businessman in a certain area. You'll be a CEO or a CFO, or you would be a stay-at-home mom. Everybody wants different things, and recently I started thinking more and more about it. And my answer would normally be, I believe today that in 10 years I want to be this, or I'm trying to achieve this. But I understand that in a couple of years' time, I may absolutely change my mind, and whatever I'm doing now may actually help me identify my further long term goals. I have a big picture. I know about what I want to be like in 10 years' time, but nothing is stable. We're moving on very quickly. So, yeah. It's very uncertain. So I'm never saying things that I do not have full confidence in.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah,
Thank you very much, Nadia. Yes,
no
sometimes
worries.
it's
Thank
really
you.
difficult to answer. For I
It's a
mean, when
tricky question, I believe. And if you were asked it back, the person who asks you, what do you want to be in 10 years, or what's your long-term goal, and this person who's interviewing him is most likely much more experienced than you, um, and it would be a very interesting conversation to have with this person. So yeah.
yes, I agree with you. That's a really difficult question, challenging, I would say. Uh, Nadia, this was our last question for you. Thank you very much. It was
You're
really
welcome, and
helpful
thank you. Thank you for
presentation
inviting.
conversation.
And
Yes, we were
yeah,
really happy to have you. And
likewise, likewise. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone who's joined. I left my email address. I think Aida has my email address as well. So, yes, please reach out if you have any questions, or if I was not very clear in my slides, because, I have some speech problems as well. So, yes, please reach out. I'll be happy to just to answer the questions.
no, I personally think that it was really a great presentation. I mean, very detailed. So I hope that everyone find it very useful. And thank you very much
That'll be
once
the best
again.
reward for me. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you for your questions also. You are always active. So see you next time. It's time to say goodbye. Good luck with everything, Nadia. It was
Thank
really
you, guys. I wish everybody best of luck as well. Apply to different programs, and yes, achieve more things. And yeah, reach out if you want to talk further about this. Okay, thank you guys. Take
Bye. On
care.
this
Have a good
positive
night.
sound vibes, we are closing the session. Bye. Have a great